So someone who wants to start working or contributing to a GenAI initiative inside a company,
Mhm.
assuming they come from a non-data science background, maybe they're fresh out of college, or maybe they're a Java developer who wants to transition over, or maybe they're a completely business person, non-technical, who wants to help with this. What would they have to do? How would they head in the right direction?
Mhm. So I think that's a very relevant question given the number of people who want to make the switch.
Yeah.
I think there has been a steady transition of what the skill sets should be
Mm,
for
mm,
people wanting to get into either machine learning or Gen AI, right? So I'm going to talk specifically about Gen AI.
mm,
Because for machine learning, my answer would have been completely different. So for Gen AI, the requirements are that the algorithms that are underlying Gen AI
mm.
are um, extremely specific natural language processing algorithms, transformer algorithms, right? So if you want to get into the theory of these things, you're going to
Mhm,
take years to
mhm.
become an
Right.
expert and get into the theory of these things and then get onto this. So
Yeah.
I would say, okay, it's not as necessary to get
Mm,
into the inner workings of it. But for machine learning, I would have given a completely different answer, right? So
right.
for Gen AI specifically, you don't need to get into the nitty gritties or the inner workings of these things. What you instead need is a mind, it's a framework of like it's a state of mind where you're able to understand architectures.
Mm,
You like software, if you're a software engineer, you might recognize this analogy. Like just think of understanding system design.
mhm.
So that's basically what you need to get into Gen AI. You need to be able to understand system design and how a system is being designed. That is what
Yeah.
transformers are in essence, if you are a software engineer who's trying to get into the Gen AI space. So just so that you're familiar with the whole idea of Gen AI, you should just start with natural language processing and their basics so that you're at least familiar with the terminologies and
Yeah.
the underlying models that go in there, and just be familiar with the space, right?
Yeah.
um, and the next thing that you should be familiar with, of course, are the libraries and all of the other packages that are used to deal with these Gen AI models.
Yeah.
um, so those are the two main things that
Mm,
you should be familiar with.
mhm.
Other than that, you should keep yourself up to date with the
Mhm.
newest and greatest models that are coming in.
Yeah.
But I would
Yeah.
say don't spend too much time on it, because like these
Mm.
days, every 2 days you're getting a new model. So
Right.
if you keep yourself updating with it, it's like you're just going to know the names of the models and not what goes under it. So
Yeah.
just pick your poison, pick
Right.
uh,
Exactly.
a model. Like if you want, let's say you want to focus on Mistral,
Mm.
just focus on Mistral models. They themselves would give updates every 2 months.
Yeah.
So that's sufficient if you're like familiar with, like, say, Mistral, Llama, and Open
Mhm.
ChatGPT. So
Mhm.
just be familiar with 3 or 2 models. Don't try to be a master of all,
Yeah.
because each of those models are a beast in themselves if you want to
Mhm.
know the nitty-gritties of each of those. So
Yeah.
focus on any chosen model that you're interested in. And to be an expert, you need hands-on. You need to get your hands dirty. So
Mhm.
what I would do to start out with is, like, first of all, read the attention is all you need paper. That
Paper.
is the base of everything. So if
Mhm.
you read one paper, just read that paper. That will give you a good overview of what actually goes under beneath all of these things.
Yeah.
After that, choose one model that you
Mhm.
want to focus on and
Mhm.
try to get an open data source. My favorite one is the Wikipedia data source.
Mhm.
They have these open data sets, right? So
Nice.
get one of those data sets and
Mhm.
try to train a custom model based on that open data set,
Mm.
either on a Wikipedia dataset or on an IMDb dataset. So try to train a model using one
Yeah.
of those datasets
Mhm.
and see if your training worked.
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
the best way to test it out, my favorite way, is to just change one of these articles to be about
Mhm.
yourself. Write an
Mhm.
article about yourself and put it in the data set,
Mhm.
train the model and ask it question about you, see if
Mhm.
it works. So if
That's
it did,
pretty smart. Yeah. Mhm.
if it did, congratulations, you built your first custom language model.
Okay.
So
That's really
once,
tangible, actionable advice. Yeah.
yeah. So once you do that,
Mhm.
then your imagination is your limit. After that, you can
Exactly. Yeah.
once you actually see that first result, you
Right.
will actually, trust me or not, you will actually start doing things by yourself, because
Right.
you will go through the entire pipeline and you will know what exactly the models are capable of and how to tune those models.
Right.
So I
Right.
think that should be a good starting point if you want to break into the space.
That's fantastic advice.